Hello, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. I invite you to take a giant breath, a deep breath. Give yourself permission to just be in this present moment. I invite you to take a look at the screen. Sometimes the strongest action we can take is to step into the quiet of the mind. Sometimes the strongest action we can take is to step into the quiet of the mind. So I invite you to take another deep breath. Let go of everything that may have come before this, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this, giving yourself permission to just be, to just take everything, put it aside, and be fully present in this moment. Stepping into that place in mind where there is no chatter, there is no thoughts of the future or memories of the past. There is just this clean, powerful feeling of being fully there, right there where you are. So breathe that in again, and then let it go. On this day, this Thanksgiving Day, if this is when you are watching, it makes sense to find ourselves in this field of pure gratitude, a sense of being thankful, full of thanks for everything right here in this present moment. So I invite you, as you breathe, as you take that next breath, to be thankful for that breath, to be thankful that you are right where you are, listening and hearing and being in a moment that you gave yourself to experience, well, to experience you. So I know that this time that we spend today is powerful, purposeful, and that everything you need to know, everything you need to ask, everything that you need to understand unfolds in the most perfect manner right here and right now. So take another deep breath. Let it out. And we'll get started. Well, usually I get to look at all of your faces and go, okay, everybody, how's everybody feeling today? But I can still ask you that. How is everybody feeling today? How are you all navigating this thing called Thanksgiving weekend? The holidays are upon us. And I guess my biggest question to you is, what are your intentions for the holidays? What is your intention today? Week 11, intention. What's your intention? What have you decided your day is going to be all about? Or your weekend, or your life even, but that's a global intention. Let's just stick with the present moment. What have you decided your intention is going to be for this beautiful holiday? Ralph Waldo Emerson says this: a good intention clothes itself with power. Do you know how powerful you are? Do you know how powerful your intentions are? Your true intentions, your real intentions, your authentic intentions? Those things that you intend to do. Not thoughts, not just wishes, hopes, desires, even, but your actual, I'm going to do this. I had a conversation with Kevin tonight, and my book, The 5 Questions, is really right there, close to the finish line. I'm still looking at designs and such. And He asked me, what are you going to do next? What do you want to do next? And I threw something out and he said, you've been doing that for the last 10 years. It's my next book. And then I said, well, I have been thinking about this. And I mentioned it to him and he said, that sounds great. And that sounds like something you can accomplish like so quickly. And I thought to myself, the only way that's going to happen is if I intend it to happen. If I set my intention and then get to work. Because a good intention, as Ralph Waldo Emerson says, clothes itself with power. There is power behind your mind when you are willing to set an intention and see it through. So, what intentions do you think you've had in your life that went unfulfilled? Somebody said something to me recently that made me laugh. It was this girl. I said, how's it going? She goes, I intended to get married and I never did. She's like 60 something now. And I said, but did you really intend to get married? She was laughing. We were talking about mental muscle. She said, no, I really did. I intended to fall in love and get married, and that never happened in that order. And I said, then maybe you really never intended to get married. You just thought you would. I think there are a lot of things in our lives that we think, well, this has to happen. This is who I am. This is what happened. This is what happens is not an intention. An intention is this is what I decide will happen. And it's happening right now as I speak my truth. So what intentions do you think you've had in your life that went unfulfilled? If you were all here right now, I'd be saying, put that in the chat. I want you to give me one thing that you thought you intended to happen in your life that didn't happen. But give it a thought. I fully intended to be a giant Broadway star. And, for a season, I was a Broadway star. And then I think for a long time, people thought of me as a Broadway star. But star, not the way I intended it. I also thought I intended to be a movie star. But did I intend it? Did I do everything in my power? And I have a lot of power, according to Emerson. Did I do everything in my power to make that intention come true? Well, that's a good question. And I'm not going to get crazy about it. So, what intentions do you think you've had in your life that went unfulfilled? I'm going to say that we all can probably agree that they probably weren't intentions. They were wishes and hopes and dreams and desires, perhaps not intentions. So if you are doing the work, you are shifting. So that brings me to this question for you. What is your intention? Not what was your intention, but what is your intention with this mental muscle now, in this moment? You see, intentions are fluid. So what was your intention would tell me what 11 weeks ago you may have had as an intention for this mental muscle. But what is it right now? Is it diminishing? Is it getting weaker? Or is it getting stronger? Is it gaining more power? So that's an important one. Because here's the thing. If you're doing the work, and you know my motto, do the work, live the results. If you're doing the work, then you are shifting. And if you are not shifting, then you're not doing the work. Now, you can argue me on that and say, I am doing the work and nothing's shifting. We'd have to have a conversation about that. But for me, if you're doing the work, you're living the results. And if you're doing the work, then you have set an intention and you are making that intention a reality. So, are you doing the work? Are you journaling every day? Are you doing the reading? Are you showing up for sessions every Monday and Thursday? Are you doing the directives? Are you writing little pieces of paper all around the house when that happens? Are you taking your hour when that happens? Have you stopped complaining? Are you starting to understand the power of your mind and the power that your mind has to create and to shift everything around you, if that's what you choose? Because if you are doing that, then you are shifting. You are evolving. Now you're going to evolve anyway, no matter what, but purposefully evolving. Doing the work is living an intention. Think about that for a second. Doing the work is living an intention. I made an intention. I made an intention specifically this time to give myself permission to absolutely do the work this time in a way that perhaps I haven't done it before. To to perhaps do the work in such a way that I challenge myself, not just, run on automatic. I mean, this is my 23rd mental muscle. So doing the work is living an intention. My intention this time was to really pay attention, really jump in and do the work. And my word, and I'd like you all to think about your word right now. What is your word? Are you living it? Is it living you? My word is cleanse. I went so far as to cleanse the arteries of my heart. I will do I do so much for you guys to just prove how this works. My word is cleanse, and I trust me, the humor does not escape me that I am cleansing so much. I'm making so many decisions and choices in my life and laying my intentions down, saying, this is what I intend to do. And so there it is. So I would, if we were going to do this together, I would ask you, what percentage do you think you've invested of yourself in this work? So obviously you can't write it in the chat for me, but tell me what you think. Tell yourself what you think. What percentage do you think you've invested in yourself in this work? For myself, I'm going to say I'm probably at a good 80%. I really have stepped into this full throttle this time, but there are things I could do better. There's a percentage of things that I could do better. So where are you with this? And this is not me beating up on you. This is not me calling you out. No, I really want you to know for yourself, how invested are you? Are you intending the work that you're doing, or is it kind of just happening? And is it just a second thought or a third thought or a fifth thought? If you don't remember what week it is when someone asks you, you're not in the work. That's something, because I did ask somebody, do you remember what week it is? And they were like, oh yeah, it's perfection week. I was like, no, we moved past that. What was your intention when we started? Going back to that, I love this little kid's face. What was your intention when you started? Now, when I asked you that before, it was like when you started Mental Muscle 11 weeks ago, what was your intention? But I want you to look at this little boy or girl. I can't tell anymore. Everything's so fluid. What was your intention when you came into the world? Do you know? What do you think your intention was when you were that age? What do you think was most important to you? To have your needs met? To just have fun? I look at this little kid and I think his intention is to understand this amazing world he finds himself in, or she finds herself in. What was your intention when you started out in life? Is it possible that we need to go back to that intention and say, you know what? Yeah, I want to explore. My intention is to explore every single day as something new, to see what things there are that I maybe haven't seen before, things that I've never experienced before. That would be fun. That'd be a fun intention to lay down as the intention for my day. That's a good thing for today if you're at the top of the day. My intention today is to explore everything with the newness of mind. So, what intention would you like to continue with as we move through the rest of this week? And actually, as we move through the rest of these weeks, what intention would you like to continue with? I'm going to give you a moment to think about that. What intention would you like to make real? What intention would you like to manifest for you for the remainder of this time? Well, I'm good with my word cleanse. I definitely want to get purer, cleaner. You know what? Clearer. I want to cleanse the windshield of my life and be able to see clearly through it so that I know exactly where I'm going. And I don't mean I have to know everything that's going to happen, but that I see where I'm going, that I understand where I'm going, and that I am, as I just said a minute ago, exploring it with a new sense of self. So then we move on to your global intentions. Have you found a global intention in your life? Here, I want you to blog about it. I'd like you to tell me so that I can read it before next Monday. Have you found a global intention in your life? Global intention is something that it's like the oversoul, Emerson's oversoul, something that shrouds over everything. What is that? I would love to know what all of your global intentions in life are. I think my global intention is to always be creative. I have a I have a thing in me right now where, and it could be that, where I am in my life and even this whole thing that just happened to me has woken me up a bit. And my global intention is to use my creativity more, to be more creative, more fearless in letting my creativity out. So what is yours? What is your global intention? And, whoops, back one. What are you doing in support of your global intention? You all know that I have this musical, The Bells Are Swinging. And just the other day, I was thinking about it and I was thinking about what I needed to do. And a thought went through my mind of, do you know how hard it's going to be to get a huge musical like this into Broadway? And I stopped right in that moment. And I said to myself, I was like, those thoughts have no place in the mind whose intention it is to bring this show to Broadway. Period. So when I look at what are you doing in support of your global intention, clearing my mind, cleansing my mind of any thoughts that could derail me, any of those yeah buts, any of those negative thoughts that could possibly talk me out of what is mine to do. So what are you doing in support of your global intention? It's not necessarily, what steps are you taking? What people have you reached out to? What are the physical things you're doing? Quite often, what are you doing in consciousness? What are you doing in mind? Because if it's not in mind, it's not in form. Did you hear that? If it's not in mind, it is not in form. Everything that shows up because it is manifest from your consciousness. So what's it going to be? What are you going to focus on? Broadway or reasons why it's difficult? Pick one and stick with it. Lay your intention out there. Lay that global intention out there to be successful, to be happy. That's also one of my global intentions, to be happy, no matter what. Intention, an active purpose. So as you look at the list of intentions you have, as you look at how you've been living your life, pick an intention right now in this moment, something that you are intending for your life, something that you have decided you want in your life. And then ask yourself, how active am I being around this? Because every intention has an energy to it, has an energy field to it. And here I'm saying intention is an active purpose. Every intention has that purposeful energy inside that is ready to make it manifest. Every intention, true intention that you lay out there has the capability and the ability to manifest because of the power and the energy within that intention. It's right there. It is absolutely there. I'm saying this and I'm thinking of my show. I'm like, yes, yes. It's so exciting, right? So there is an active, purposeful nature to that intention, whatever it is. You got it? You got it in your head? Do you know what that intention is? Do you feel any of the yeah buts wanting to come in and go, but this could happen or that could happen? Tell them thanks. As we discussed in Tara Brock's book, you know, invite them to lunch and then say, thank you all for your concern and move it on along. Move it on along. So here's a boot camp quote. I know when I have an intention when I'm just blowing smoke. When I have an intention, it happens. So how much smoke are you blowing? I'm sitting here going, I wish you were all here. I'd love you to answer that question for me. How much smoke are you blowing? And if I ask myself, how much smoke am I blowing? Right? How much of this is real and how much of it is just daydreams? And as I said earlier, hoping and wishing and dreaming and thinking. But how much of it is real? Absolutely real. I mean, I've done my Tony Award speech so many times. I've done my Oscar speech so many times, my Grammy speech so many times, my Emmy speech so many times. I have done my valedictorian speech at colleges when they invite me over, invite me back, right? We've all done those things, haven't we? I can't see you, so I don't know if your hands are up, but I kind of feel we all do those things. But is that blowing smoke or is that preparing? Actually, it's just your mindset that decides that. When I have an intention, it happens. I had an intention to open a church. It happened. I had a direct, definite intention to be an actor. It happened. I had an intention to go to New York and star in Broadway musicals. That happened. Those were real, direct intentions. I had an intention to get married and have children, to be very clear. I always wanted to get married, and I always knew I wanted to be a father. That happened in a very circuitous way, I might add, but it happened. Intentions manifest when they are true intentions. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Volo ergo facio. I intend, therefore I do. Descartes. So I think, therefore I am was the big one. That's the famous one that we all know. But volo ergo facio. I intend, therefore I do. So are you moving your feet? You can't just say this is my intention and then do nothing, because then guess what? It's not an intention. So are you moving your feet? Are you doing what is necessary? And as I'm asking you these questions, I'm like saying to myself, oh my God, James, are you? And I've dragged my feet lately. These last 5 years since Nora passed, and as you all know, this weekend is a very emotional weekend for us here at the Mellon Bailey House because it's 5 years since Nora passed on Thanksgiving weekend. And I've dragged my feet. And it's not that I blame myself for dragging my feet. I'm okay that I dragged my feet in many areas because I'm just happy that I was aware my feet were dragging. I'm happy I knew I had feet. And that's not to say, that it was so, you know what? Yes, it is to say that that was a horrible, horrifying thing to experience, and I still experience it every day. But I have to get back to, I intend, therefore I do. I have to get back to, what do I really want to do with the rest of my life? What do I really want to accomplish? So there's global intentions. And mine is, I want my creativity to come out even more spontaneously. Kevin and I were having dinner tonight, and we were talking about a show that I wrote called Sissy Boy that I performed in. And I said to him, I said, one of the reasons why I've stayed away from that show is because I have such a Nora connection to that show. My daughter came to every performance I did of that show, sat in the same seat every night, and came backstage and told me what she thought of the performance every night. And, I said to Kevin, I said, I just can't even imagine looking at it anymore or even considering doing it again because she wouldn't be there. And he so beautifully said to me, he said, James, she'll always be there. And, I had tears in my eyes and I went, you're absolutely right. Always. And so for me, I intend, therefore I do. I'm done dragging my feet. That's one of my intentions. My intention is to move forward full throttle. Now, I also want to slow down a little bit as I say that. Move forward full throttle. But I do want to do it with a real awareness of my own being so that I do it with the healthiest and the most vital energy that I have. So I really want you to think about this. Are you moving your feet? Are you doing? Because if you're not, it's probably not an intention yet. Intention versus goal. For me, a goal is a noun. Maybe you have goals. Maybe you have a lot of goals. But for me, that's just something in your mind. An intention is a verb. An intention means that goal is activated. That goal, that idea, that premise now has a motor and it's moving. So there's another question. Are your intentions movement? Is there movement in you regarding these intentions? Intention, the energy that refuses to allow anything to interfere with achieving an inner desire. So for me, an intention is an energetic field. It is when I say it's a verb, it's a moving, breathing, living thing that is evolving and constantly expanding. The energy that refuses to allow anything to interfere with achieving an inner desire. So I know I'm doing a lot of talking. Well, obviously I have to because there's no one here but me. Um, but you're all here because there's only one thing going on. So this energy, this, what is back of whatever that desire is, whatever your intention is, your intention comes with a true intention comes with that energy, that life force, that power that refuses to allow anything to stop it. Is that what you have going right now? Do you feel that? Is that what it feels like? I go back and look at my youth, and I remember my first musical that I wrote in New York. And oh my God, I would drag stools from bars and bring them to wherever I needed to bring them to do a reading of my musical so that the world could start seeing it. I did everything because I knew that that first musical was going to be produced. End of story. Nothing was going to stop me. And boy, people tried over and over again to stop me, even when it got produced. The critics tried to stop me by telling me that I'd really written something that wasn't good, but I knew it was good. It wasn't necessarily good in this incarnation, but I knew it was good. So I did it again, and then it was good. And then I did it again. I took it to LA, and took it to Australia and to Boston, all over the place. What is in you that is saying to you, we are unstoppable? Where is that energy in you that says, this is what I'm deciding to do, and nothing will stop me? Because here's the big question. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I wrote a song. One of the songs from my first musical was called What Are We Waiting For? And the whole thing was about spending your whole life waiting for that moment to happen, when in truth, the moment only happens when you're in the moment and you're driving that moment forward with your own intentional purpose. So you got your intention. What are you waiting for? What do you need to happen in order for you to manifest your intentions? Because if anything pops up that you need, like, well, actors say this all the time. I need a better agent. I need better headshots. I need blah, blah, blah. Okay, go get an agent. Go get better headshots. That's the doing. That's the energy. But don't use those things to stop you, to slow you down. So what list do you have of things that you need to happen in order for you to manifest what you say you want? And that's a very simple question. What are you waiting for? And I want you to think about that. I want you to really spend some time in your mind thinking about that, because if we were all here today, that would be the communication, the 10 minutes for you to take to your partner and ask the question or answer the question, what am I waiting for? I guess I could do an acting exercise right now where I pretend that I'm talking to somebody for 10 minutes, but I'm not going to do that to you. But I would love that conversation with someone or with myself even to ask myself, James, what are you waiting for? It's a good question. Do you have an answer for yourself? What are you waiting for? What am I waiting for? What, am I waiting to get older? Because that's going to happen inevitably. But if I keep waiting, I'm going to run out of time on this plane of action. And given my last adventure, um, yeah, I really don't want to wait anymore. So the answer to my question, what am I waiting for? Nothing. I am waiting for nothing. I'm just doing. And let everything fall where it may. That's how I'm feeling. How about you? So now we're going to pretend we're coming back from our 10 minutes of communication and we'll talk about the blog. So um, I have old blogs, things that I really wanted to cover here because I will read your blogs all tomorrow and comment on them on Monday. So, although God has always been inside me, I haven't always been conscious of it. My intention is to cultivate opportunities for divinity to surface into my consciousness. I remember this blog and I remember thinking to myself, that's also one of my intentions, to be more of the truth of who I am. And I love this. I haven't always been conscious of it. One of my intentions is to be more conscious daily of who I am. Wouldn't that be a great one? Would you like that? You can have that. You can totally have that one. We need to be more conscious every day and intentionally be conscious of who we are. I love this Parkinson's law. The amount of time you give a task to take is the amount of time it takes. Just talked about that, didn't we? What are we waiting for? And here's the thing. We tend to think, well, let me go to my musical. A Broadway musical is going to take probably 3 or 4 years for it to get to Broadway. I've got to do that first workshop, then I've got to take the workshop into the first production of it. Then that production's going to need to get rewritten. Someone's going to have to come in with money to put a tour together for cities outside of New York. And then we have to wait for a theater. And then once the theater happens, make sure that we've raised all the money and then bring it into New York. Okay, that is precedence that has been set. As we all know, principle is not bound by precedence. Somebody could walk along, pick up that script, or just having seen it already, because I've done a number of readings, and come to me and say, you know what, I'm a billionaire. I have millions of dollars. I'm going to give you $25 million. Let's just put it together and put it on Broadway. And I'd be like, great, can we do one tryout city? But let's do it now. Do it now. So let's try to take time out of the equation in terms of our intentions of what we want to accomplish, what we know is ours to accomplish, and then get all the yeah buts out of the way. One of the yeah buts is, how much time is this going to take? As though anyone really knows. I love that that clock is just dissipating. But if you raise the necessity high enough, it becomes your new standard. So think about that. If you raise the necessity high enough, it becomes your new standard. This is what intention should be: a standard, a requirement, a necessity. So is your intention something that you require? I love Dr. Walker's story about that when he went to lunch at that rich woman's place and she offered him tea and she said, do you require cream in your coffee? And he said, well, no, I don't require it. And she said, wait a minute. Do you drink tea without, I'm sorry, do you require cream in your coffee? Do you drink coffee without cream? And Dr. Walker said, no, I don't. She said, then you require cream in your coffee. It's a requirement. That's how you drink coffee. And he thought to himself, yeah, why would I think, oh, not necessarily. I do. I require cream. An intention should be a requirement. I require my dreams, my aspirations. I require those things that I feel inside that I want to do. I require those to manifest. See that mindset when you really get it? It's not just a, oh, that would be nice. It's a, no, I require that. A necessity. It's necessary for me to demonstrate what is mine, right? Now, we do take into consideration all the things that happen along the way. And I believe, I love that episode on Friends, pivot, pivot. I believe that we need to pivot every now and then. And sometimes we pivot into something even greater. All the time when we pivot into something greater. But that doesn't mean the intention isn't clear. It's just that more clarity may bring you this way. That's okay, but you have to be active. You have to keep moving. This is a vlog. So this week I am setting the intention to raise my standards, specifically for my physical and financial health and well-being. I deserve better. There's an intention to raise my standards. But you know what? An intention to raise the standards of your physical life or your financial well-being, until you actually do it, until you take the necessary action to do that, then it's just a dream, a hope, a desire, a possibility. You want that possibility to be a reality, you have to lay it down as an intention and then back it with the power that's inherent within that intention. What I now know to be true for me, there is a feeling, a physical reaction I experience when I arrive at an intention. And when followed by action, it's a done deal. So look at the beginning of this. I remember who this was too. This was Audrey Larson who wrote this. What I now know to be true for me is that there is a physical reaction I experience when I arrive at an intention. Here's the thing, everybody, you absolutely know, when you are blowing smoke or when you feel it. This is mine. This is real. This is real. And I love that she wrote that. There's a physical reaction, a feeling I have, a knowing, and then follow that with action because this is mine. I feel it. I get it. And I do it. Done deal. It manifests in one way or another. And sometimes, I look at some of the shows that just come and go. I look at some of the shows that some of the greatest composers and book writers and directors of musicals have done. The one right now that's on Broadway, Merrily We Roll Along, is on Broadway right now with an amazing cast. Harry Potter is in it, Daniel Radcliffe, and that show was a bomb when it opened. I was there opening night in 1982, I think it was. It opened. Hal Prince, Stephen Sondheim, a wonderful cast of Jason Alexander was in the cast. All these people having their first experience on Broadway. I think it ran like 5 performances, maybe a little longer, but it was a gigantic, colossal disaster. And yet it was an intention in the minds of all those creators, and it happened, and it had its run. And here we are 41 years later, and it's the biggest hit on Broadway. Reimagined. Maybe, and I think this all the time, maybe understood by this generation, this collective consciousness that we're living in right now. So all of your intentions, all that spontaneous energy to create, it's right there for you to tap into. And it's not yours to decide whether it's a success or a failure. That's not what we're aiming at. I'm certainly not. I'm aiming at creation. Just create. Be willing to lay that intention down and then see it through to its final culmination, whenever or wherever that may be. My intention is to lift my vibrational level in body, mind, and spirit. So it is. That's a good one too. Wayne Dyer says, our intention creates our reality. Our intention creates our reality. That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Perfect sense. Because if an intention is real, not just blowing smoke, if it's real, if it has that power within it, then, and if it's moving energy, then it's going to create the reality of the life we live, because we live out whatever mind brings forth. So, an intention to do or to be or to have sets the gears in motion for it to become a reality. An intention is not a plan, it is what's behind the plan. Intentions, I said this on Monday, intentions are thoughts activated. And I have another question for you. What are you waiting for to push that go button? What do you need to happen for you to push that go button? Because whatever that is, get it done. This week is really our chance to say, I know who I am. I know what's mine to do. And it's time to press. There we go, right there. Press that go button. So, your directives for the week. Pay attention this week to your declared intentions and start weeding them out. Is this an intention or is this just a dream? Am I blowing smoke or is this real for me? Right? Are you acting on them or are they just thoughts? Number 2, when you wake up, make a list of your intentions for the day. Again, not your plans, your intentions. What's your intention today? What's your intention? If you're watching this on Thursday morning, what's your intention for this Thanksgiving? What's your intention for this weekend? What's your intention for everything, really? So whenever you're watching this, I want you to ask yourself, and every day following, what are my intentions for the day? And that's number 2. And then start a list of your global intentions. These are things that are long-term and integral to your purpose in life. What are your global intentions? As I said, mine is to use my creativity more spontaneously and with less control of it, with less conditions. I want to be unconditionally creative and I want to be happy in all areas of my life. So start that list and really pay attention to that list. Choose a global intention and every day choose something that supports that intention and accomplish it. I just thought to myself, did I do that today? Yeah, I really did. I wrote a whole bunch of stuff today. I got a lot done today in that respect. This week's affirmation, I back my intention with my word. And I just want to say this, at the end of the day, look back and see, did I really live out my intention? Because if I did, it was an intention. If I didn't, then I just had a thought. I didn't really decide. Okay? I back my intention with my word. And you remember, do the work. If you do the work, if you're doing the work, you're already living the results. Like my thighs today, you're like, what? My thighs today, I did legs yesterday at the gym. And so my legs today, I'm feeling the results of yesterday's squatting, like this guy's doing. And they were a little sore, but can I tell you, I loved that they were sore. I was like, yeah, back in the saddle again. So any questions? But if you have any questions, put them on the blog. That's what the blog's for. And I am happy and I excitedly answer those questions. And there you have it. Mental Muscle, week 11, day 2. So I invite you to take a deep breath again as we close ourselves out of here. Here we go. Happy Thanksgiving again to all of you. We have so much to be thankful for. I'm very thankful for this program. I'm happy it came to me. I'm happy I have followed through with it on my 23rd Mental Muscle. What is yours to do today? What's your intention for this day before you or this night before you, wherever you are, whenever you are listening to this? I recognize and know that there is this quantum field of energy that is always doing, always creating, always evolving, always expanding. And that's who I am. That's who you are. And if that is who we are, and it is, then we just need to allow it to bring forth whatever is ours to bring into the world. And then do it now. So have a beautiful Thanksgiving, everyone. Lay your intentions out there. Put your thanks out there too. Gratitude has incredible energy to it. Gratitude is a prosperity magnet, I say. So have a beautiful, beautiful holiday. Do the work, live the results, and give yourself permission to actually create whatever is yours to create. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day or night or wherever you are, everyone. And I will see you next Monday. Namaste.